So, Avatar 2 is finally approaching. After 13 years of speculations, delays, and uncertainty, we are finally less than a month away from seeing the world of Pandora and the mind of James Cameron revisited. Ask anyone who knows me, and I love Avatar. I am an Avatar defender through and through.
It was perfect. Perfect.
But breaking down my appreciation of the first film is not my goal today. I'll get to that later. The Avatar haters aren't getting away from me. Instead, my aim is to analyze what Avatar: Way of Water needs to do in order to be a successful sequel. There's a lot riding on this movie for fans of Part 1 like myself. I do not want to be let down, as many sequels have a reputation for doing. Not to mention the massive financial investment riding on this film. If it fails to make a huge record-breaking haul, I have no doubt Disney will be cutting the future of the franchise short. And it would be devastating for a creative and relatively new mythology like Avatar to fail and fade into the background of a raging sea of corporate reboots, remakes, and adaptations as they continue to dominate the world while adding no artistic merit to the film space. I'm sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm putting a lot of stake in this film, but despite my adoration of Avatar 1, I am well aware that the sequel can crash and burn. I like what I've seen so far, but I can't be too sure. That's why I decided to unveil a new ChalShire system to the dashboard, my own quotient for the quality of sequels. I call it the sequel triad, which I know is just an oxymoronic name, but let's just say it adds to the humor for now. So let me introduce my 3 tenets of the sequel triad and explain how James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water needs them to craft a worthy sequel. Let's say you did a good job introducing a cast of characters in your original work. I believe Avatar was able to accomplish this in its nearly 3-hour runtime. But with another big movie, the writer has a great opportunity to enhance those characters by putting them through new and interesting challenges and seeing how they have evolved since we last saw them. Characters are the heart of a good story, and their growth is crucial to making anyone care about a sequel.
Can you name any character, just one character, from the highest grossing film of all time, Avatar?
Yes, Jack. Yes, I can. Let's start with our lead, Jake Sully. His adventure in the first movie is lazily dismissed as a clone of Ferngully, Dances with Wolves, Last Samurai, and so on. But these critics are too bothered to realize that his story was actually more like a tribute to the John Carter of Mars books by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It is the tale of a soldier who is lost on his home world, but finds meaning in a new life in an alien one. Formulaic, sure, but it's a formula that works. I bought into Jake's story since it was interesting to see a paraplegic veteran turn against his own kind for a better, universal good, all while learning about a bold new world we've never seen on film before. It worked. But that story is done, and we need to see Jake Sully struggling with new challenges and threats, as well as discover more about himself than was previously revealed. I have been avoiding much of the movie's marketing since I want to see it with mostly fresh eyes, but from what I know, Jake has now started a Na'vi family with Neytiri, and has to struggle with his role as a father. Keeping his family alive will likely be paramount. This is a promising plot development, and I think it's the right move. But as I said, there are no guarantees. The script has to follow through and show Jake commit to those challenging decisions.
Can you name one character from the top grossing film of all time, Avatar?
Alright, Neytiri is also involved in this development. While we see her as a strong-hearted, powerful Na'vi woman, her character needs to turn those instincts toward her family as well. It will be a very new take on her character to see her open up to a family and come off as more nourishing. There were a lot of characters that didn't survive, like Quaritch, Grace, Trudy, as well as the supporting characters that weren't entirely essential, like Norm. Also, I'm not looking these up, Jack. I mean, Boy Scouts honor. I just have actually watched the movie instead of complaining about the box office all the time.
I am so sick of Avatar being the top grossing film of all time.
This point of character growth also includes introducing new characters, ones that interact with the recurring cast in new or interesting ways. For The Way of Water to succeed, the new cast needs to add a different kind of element, whether it be through character chemistry, conflict, or assistance. If these new characters serve the exact same purpose as the old ones, or worse, are just carbon copies of them, then the main story will not be that compelling, and will make me question whether returning to Pandora is worth it. Which leads me to my next point. I think the main rule for a sequel is to continue the story, not to repeat it. If the story is truly done and there is no real ground left to cover, a sequel can endanger the greatness of the original, as well as wasting everyone's time. I know that I may get some heat for this, but The Last of Us Part 2 was a prime example of this. I went through that game and my takeaway was that it detracted from the original, Continuing the beautiful story of survival and love for a daughter figure in the apocalypse with a poorly paced revenge drama was not the right move. Another example of this is the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Those movies went ahead with an Emperor clone, an Empire clone, a Rebellion clone, and do it so much worse than the original that I don't even consider them canon. I know these works have their fans, but I hope that people can respect my opinion that better sequels were possible, while any sequel at all was probably unnecessary. Thankfully, Avatar is a good start in this regard. There were a lot of loose ends that warranted exploration in the first movie. Like, what if the humans come back? Is Jake going to fit in naturally as a Na'vi? What other settings of Pandora are there to explore? What if some Na'vi were evil? What if technology ensures that humans will capture Pandora eventually? These are the exciting questions a writer needs to take advantage of when writing a sequel. Some stories wrap up beautifully in one go, which is great, and forcing a sequel is a cash grab at best, and a disrespect to the original at worst. James Cameron was wise enough to leave room for further installments, and the ending of Avatar 1 left me more satisfied, but also yearning for more. But as stated, this does not make for instant success. Avatar 2 needs to take these questions and answer them with compelling plots that make sense within its universe. It's understandable that human Na'vi war continues, but it must do so in a way that won't rehash the plot of the first film. If Way of Water succeeds, it will build upon those foundations and continue the story in a logical through line. This will make for an entertaining sequel and hopefully will lead the way for the final corner of my sequel triad to be realized. I've talked about plot and characters, but an extremely impressive sequel doesn't just stop there. It also builds upon the themes of the first installment in a meaningful way without just repeating the same subtext. An excellent example of this is The Empire Strikes Back, one of the greatest sequels, if not one of the greatest films of all time. In 1977's Star Wars, we saw an excellent execution of the tried and true hero's journey, where a young boy yearning for something more embarks on an unlikely adventure and saves the princess from a dark tower guarded by an evil sorcerer, but in space. To me, it's a tale about rising from mediocrity to fulfill a positive destiny. In Empire Strikes Back, however, George Lucas continued this theme of destiny in a brilliant way that I don't think can ever be repeated, when Luke's heroism gets him trapped rather than saves everyone.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
And the bad guy is revealed to be his father. Luke's destiny may not be all sunshine and happy endings. He may be destined to be evil just as much as he is destined to be good. The question of free choice, then, expands upon the theme of merely fulfilling a destiny. A counter to this would be Incredibles 2. A complete letdown of the first movie's theme of superheroes staying relevant despite changing times was simply repeated. The first movie made you believe that superheroes were in danger of becoming irrelevant.
Act like that's a bad thing.
It is a bad thing, Bob. Uprooting our family again so you can relive the glory days is a very bad thing.
Reliving the glory days is better than acting like they didn't happen.
Yeah.
The second movie, it was basically just a feel-good rehash where superheroes become legal again because, I don't know, they stopped caring about collateral damage or something. It was a bad sequel. For Avatar to rate closer to Empire Strikes Back and far above Incredibles 2, James Cameron's original message needs more refinement. From my reading, the first movie is a pretty clear condemnation of colonization and corporatized resource mining, and a celebration of natural beauty and cultural respect. Avatar 2 doesn't have to ignore its original thesis, but should rather expand upon its complexities. Maybe not all Na'vi are good. Maybe the conflict isn't as clear-cut. Maybe family is more important than the tribe, as we may see with Jake's family. The challenge here is keeping the spirit of the original without simply doing it over. Go too far against the spirit of the original, and your sequel will be unnecessary. Staying too close to the original, and you may risk a boring repeat. James Cameron is an amazing storyteller, as we've seen before. He has the acumen to walk this tightrope, and after all, he has already delivered one of the best sequels of all time with Terminator 2. I have high hopes for this movie, and want to come out of the theater feeling inspired and moved by the power of storytelling, much like the first one did for me. But whether James Cameron can actually execute on this or not, this time will be seen in December. And until Avatar 2 comes out, I'm going to be diving a little deeper into sequels. I will be expanding upon the sequel triad in upcoming videos, taking a look at some of the best and worst sequels of all time, so I can truly prepare myself to determine Avatar 2's quality as a sequel. I've mentioned some of the works I'll be dissecting in this video, so if you want more, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Leave a like and comment how you think Avatar Way of Water will turn out. So until then, I'm signing off.